Cooking.
Let's get cooking from my Philadelphia kitchen. And I was really excited today. I always do chocolate. You'll find on the Unchained TV all this chocolate stuff that I've done. I don't want to call it stuff, but today is drop biscuit day, cream biscuit day, and so easy to make. You won't believe it. Takes no time at all. And I've got them all gussied up here with, that's an old fashioned word, all fixed up with some strawberry cream and fresh strawberries. I've got one because Valentine's Day wasn't that long ago, cut like a heart. I've got some plain ones. We don't have to do anything with them really. We can just spread them with some Miyoko's butter or jam or whatever. But let me get started and show you how fast it is to make these up. And you'll be able to get the recipe later. That's for sure. So, super important to do what I call a mise en place. I didn't make that up. That's a French term, but it means getting everything set. So to save time, I have both the flours. I have AP flour and whole wheat pastry flour. You don't want to use whole wheat flour to make desserts. That's for bread. And I'm just going to strain them through. It takes an extra second, but it's going to make these delicious. I'm going to add, because I have a note here that says add your baking powder and salt. So if I think I'll remember, maybe I'll remember, and maybe I won't. And I bet it's the same for you. I use aluminum-free baking powder. I don't want aluminum in my head. And a little bit of sea salt. That's the whole 9 yards. If I wasn't talking, we would be done. Whisk, whisk, whisk. And now what I have in here is some coconut milk, don't buy light, with a little orange zest and vanilla extract. I added a little almond extract. I'm going to add, this is blanched almond flour, almond meal, almond flour. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The biscuits that I already made, I used whole almond flour, which just means that it has the skin on. Doesn't make any difference. And then I'm just making a little well, which means I'm just making a little hole in the center, and in goes this. So you can see how quick this is. I mean quick. If you can read, you can make these. And now I'm just pulling the dry ingredients into the liquid ingredients to make a shaggy dough. I don't want to overwork it, but I'm not going to stress, and neither should you. So this is vegan, obviously, because that's all I do is vegan. But I will tell you that they're based on what's called a cream biscuit, which is essentially the same thing. It's flour. Well, traditionally, it's flour, baking powder, maybe some flavoring, and heavy cream. Well, coconut milk has the same, just about the same percentage of fat as the heavy cream. So there you go. When you make this recipe, when you follow the recipe on Unchained TV, you'll see that you're going to have more, and that's because I'm making a half recipe because I've already done this 3 times today. I love these, and I'll tell you, you can keep them in your freezer. So, and then just rewarm them. One thing that I have noticed is that when I use the nut flour that is whole, and let me show you what that looks like. So this one has the brown on it because it's got the skin. Then the mixture is a little bit thicker, which of course makes sense, right? It makes sense. Now somewhere here we go. It's not polite to turn your back. So I have an ice cream scoop. You can push the batter off onto your baking sheet with 2 spoons if you want. There's nothing precious about these. And so I'm just going to do that. They grow a little bit, so don't put them right exactly next to each other, but they don't really spread. And this is actually an assignment. This is a recipe from my Essential Vegan Desserts course at Rouxbe. And my students really love doing this recipe. So here we go. I usually get 6. Well, I get 12. Again, this is a half recipe. And I have a little one here that's going to be the treat for the cook. The cook always gets a treat. Now, another thing that's really super about these biscuits is you can see there's no sugar in here, right? Not because I'm a sugar hater. I'm not. I do desserts. As long as it's vegan sugar, I'm good. But that means these biscuits are good for savory food. So if you're doing chili or you just want a little biscuit to go with your eggs, your tofu scramble, or your just eggs in the morning, here you go. But I'm going to put some sugar on the top of them. This is a coarse sugar, but you can use any that you want or nothing. You don't have to do this. So, when I'm testing a recipe or playing around and I want to see how the sugar is going to work, then what I'll do is I'll put the topping on some, but not all. But again, because I did so many events and demos around Valentine's Day, I've got some. This is actually red, vegan, coarse sugar. So let's see how this works. Isn't that pretty?
Yes. Wow.
Isn't that pretty? Yeah.
Incredible. And I just have to tell you all, we are in the presence of a vegan pastry expert. She has a cookbook author, a consultant, an internationally recognized, innovative, pioneering pastry chef who marries healthy eating with scrumptious flavors. Wow, everybody, she's stepping away for just a moment. Dun, 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 dun. And I want to tell you, you can find her at the Rouxbe Online Culinary School. You can take a course with her. How amazing is that? She's checking her watch. Take it away. Back to you.
You know what? I am actually going to put a timer on, and most often I don't go off camera to do something, but this is so amazing how fast they bake. So the Rouxbe course that Paige just kindly mentioned, it's a 90-day essential vegan desserts course. It's the only kind. It's the only one of its kind in the world. We go through foundational technique. I have people who have to take the sweaters out of their oven when they get started because they've never baked. And then I have professional chefs. It's so much fun. And when Paige and I and Jane and I, my friend, we talk about this often. When you can offer people a treat, we have birthdays, we have holidays, we have celebrations. We want to be able to have vegan desserts, and I want them to be unapologetically delicious, look good, taste good. And so you learn to do it. And right now there's a 20% discount. So you might want to check it out. So that while they're baking, I'm going to deconstruct one and show you all the different things. Now, I will tell you that there are many times that I'll just take one of these biscuits, split it open. We do need more vegan bakeries, but they're really happening. And you ought to check out the one in Florida called L'Artisan. Carolina Molia, her vegan croissant won Best of Miami in a blind tasting. So just to say. But anyway, you just split this and spread it with my favorite butter, and maybe yours too, is Miyoko's butter. So a lot of times I will just do that. But when I was thinking about what I might do that was a little special or a little different today, I thought, how about if we put, it wouldn't be a demo if I didn't have some chocolate, right, Paige? We could have some chocolate on this biscuit, some peanut butter, some banana. I mean, I would like to see some ideas and see what you all think about it as well. But let me take one that I already cut. This is one I made earlier. It's got the red top. I should really put it on a plate.
And we have questions about your beautiful book. So we're going to want to bring that forward at the end there too. Oh,
see the little bees on this plate? I love this plate. And every once in a while, I'll do a photo, of a dessert. And someone says, Fran, there was a bee on your plate. I'm like, yeah.
Yes, nothing like being happy with those delicious desserts you bring in.
Happy. I want to get something. It had to stay in the fridge till the last minute. Think about, desserts. And this is really important, is sometimes people forget that we're making vegan desserts, meaning we're not using any dairy products whatsoever, no eggs, not even free range. That sounds silly maybe, but I get that question all the time. And sugar, that's sweetener, that's vegan. But we still have to follow the rules. So I made this cream and I made it up this morning special for this demo. And I will tell you, it is so good. And all I did was I took some cashews that were soaked. Some of you may already know when you make a cashew cream, you soak your cashews ahead. I soak my cashews, I drain them, I put them in the freezer, I mark this many ounces of soaked cashews. And then I took some frozen unsweetened strawberries and let them defrost almost all the way. So some of their juice came out, and I blended them in a blender until I got this. It looked pretty. It tasted good. Needed a little something more. So I added a little bit of fruit only organic vegan strawberry preserves, a drop of lemon zest. Start trusting your palate. You don't need a recipe for everything. And 1 teaspoon of sugar, just 1 teaspoon of sugar. And this was absolutely delicious. So let me show you how I would build this. Maybe I would put some of the jam on the bottom of the biscuit. Maybe I won't. I like a lot of cream, so why not? And since I'm the one that's going to be eating this, then I took these strawberries and cut them up. And they've been what's called macerated. So some of the juice comes out of them. I sprinkled them with probably a teaspoon of sugar, and let them sit at room temperature. And then they get juicy. And there's juice in there. If you don't want to use vegan cane sugar for some reason, some people don't like to, just put a little bit of maple syrup on here, and you're totally good to go. I'm not even going to take a clean spoon. I'm also really tempted to do that, but I won't. And I'm going to just pile these on. Just pile them on and all over the plate. And recently, I started using some organic dehydrated, like freeze-dried strawberries. And that's what they look like. And they add a little crunch and a little surprise. So I think I'll pile those on too. Why not? Put the lid back on. If it breaks, doesn't matter. These aren't precious. These are biscuits. These are biscuits. So let me tell you why I put the nut flour in, because that is not traditional to what's called a cream biscuit or a drop biscuit. If there's anybody here who makes biscuits, you know that most of the time you cut some butter or shortening in and they get all the layers and things. This is much easier and a bit healthier if it matters to you. So I thought, I'm using some AP flour, some whole wheat pastry flour. There's protein in that, but the nut flour adds a richness and some more protein, which is really good, and flavor. So that's why it's there. But one of my really smart students at Essential Vegan Desserts said to me, or wrote to me this week, that he was looking at the recipe for these biscuits. He has a nut allergy. Instead of the almond flour, and obviously you could use hazelnut flour if you wanted to. I imagine pecan flour as well. It would be a little softer. He ground up some sunflower seeds into a flour. And he said, the result was absolutely delicious. So for people who are nut-free, that's something you can do. If you're concerned that you don't care for the taste of coconut milk, well, guess what? There's not a drop of a taste of coconut milk in these biscuits. It's the cream substitute. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Can you bring those up close and personal so we can see them? And we have the question of, is it true you use 3 different flours?
I did. I used, and let me just bring this one up close and personal so you can see what it looks like just naked. If what you want is a shinier top, go ahead and shine it up with a little maple syrup or agave, or even some plant milk will work. I use all-purpose flour and whole wheat pastry flour. I almost always use them in combination because I think it gives a really nice result. If you want to use all-purpose flour, when you look at the recipe, it's going to say 3/4, I think, this is in my head. Oh, I could look at it. 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of all-purpose, 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of whole wheat pastry flour. If you don't want to use whole wheat pastry flour, don't use it. Add a half a cup more of the all-purpose flour. The nut flour is really necessary to give these a really yummy flavor, a lovely texture, something je ne sais quoi, something really delicious. So that's something to remember, though, about the flours. I wouldn't recommend using 100% whole wheat pastry flour. In this case, they might be a little dense and they might not be. Do a half recipe and see.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited that you all joined us here today, and we have the amazing expert pastry chef Fran. Will you bring us the book up close and personal, The Chocolate Decadence? And all of you need to head on over. You can sign up for Fran's Essential Vegan Desserts course at Rouxbe. Just go to Rouxbe.com and look at this, everybody. Decadent, delicious, vegan, velvety, and scrumptious.
Look at these moon pies. Look at this chocolate cake. I tell you, thank you for asking me to bring this. Oh, creme brulee with a brulee top. There's a whole chapter on vegan ice creams. There's a whole chapter on truffles. I did truffles for it with you. I'm sure. I believe I did. And
Yes,
here are some truffles, but they're so easy to make. You know what happened was, I love cookbooks. I love looking at cookbooks. And the chocolate books that I saw were just gorgeous. But there was nothing for a person who wanted vegan chocolate that looked pretty. So I spent quite a lot of my life doing this book. I said, there's a hole in the market. Someone has to fill it. So there you go. I mean, and my recipes are so easy to understand. Almost everybody can. This is a soccer tort, which we can have. We can have, anything they can eat, we can eat better. But every single thing is absolutely delicious. And that's the way it should be. It should just be not good for what it is. It should be fabulous. It should be really, really, really delicious.
One more look on our way out of those gorgeous drop biscuits. Can we see the strawberry covered ones as well? Oh, look at this, everybody. Incredible, Fran. We would love to have you back. We're so grateful you all watched today. Thank you again, and find Fran on all our social media. And we will see you all next time on Lunch Break Live, UnChainedTV. Bye-bye.
Bye.